Very good evening. On behalf of Zealand, I, Paramita Chattopadhyay, thank each one of you for joining us for the first session of Litera Gantavya 2022. After the overwhelming response to Litera Gantavya 2021, we are back with Litera Gantavya 2022. At Zealand, it's our constant endeavor to brace the 21st century learners to meet the challenges of the dynamically evolving world by providing them a platform to explore the higher education opportunities in alignment with their skills and their interests. This program aims to provide insights to the students regarding various career opportunities aligned to the courses. The objective of Litera Gantavya is to guide the students and help them identify the best opportunities based on their interests and skills. It is a platform to share crucial information regarding higher education opportunities to empower the students to make the right decision at the time of their stream selection. So once again, welcome each one of you to this session of Litera Gantavya 2022. I am very, very happy and we extend a very warm welcome to our guest speaker of the evening, Ms. Swati Razdan, the Deputy Manager Outreach at Ashoka University. Welcome, Swati, to our session today of Litera Gantavya 2022. Ashoka University is a pioneer in its focus on providing a liberal education at par with the best in the world. Drawing from Emperor Ashoka's life of learning and transformation, Ashoka University, located in Sonepat, Haryana, provides holistic education that is liberal, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and offers a diverse and inclusive space for the children to think deeply and critically. It advocates learning across disciplines to enable creative expression and communication with meaning, which will cause impact and change. I now have the privilege of introducing our guest speaker, Swati Razdan. Swati Razdan, born in Noida, hails from the paradise on earth, Kashmir. She completed her schooling from DPS Dubai and pursued her BTech in production engineering from the College of Engineering, Pune. She has 4 years of experience working for a German automotive MNC. Along the way, she discovered her interest and inclination towards the field of education and found her calling and decided to change her career path. This brought her to Ashoka University. She is currently working there in their outreach team as the deputy manager. Swati, a very, very warm welcome to you for the first session of Litera Gantavya 2022. I request you to take the session over from here. Very warm welcome.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible. Just give me a heads up for that. Perfect. So it's a privilege and honor that, we are having the first session and we're starting this year's, sessions with Ashoka University. And thank you for the introduction. It was a great introduction. Now, before we actually go into, like ma'am spoke about Ashoka University and the kind of courses we offer, I feel today what I want to take all of you through, parents and students alike, is careers of the future, right? Basically, you must have realized in the previous years as well कि बहुत change हो रहा है, right? There are so many things जो change हो रहे हैं. A lot of careers जो हमने कभी सुने भी नहीं थे, सोचे भी नहीं थे, are coming up right today. So what I want to do first is sort of get an idea कि where are we, right? क्या condition है currently India की या दुनिया की, and where is it going, right? And how do we need to prepare for where it's going, right? That's why today's session's topic is called Careers of the Future, and I hope it's a interesting topic. I hope that you get some percentage of information, some idea about what are the kind of careers that are going to come up, what are just going to cease to exist, right? और हमें कैसे skills develop करने पड़ेंगे. So without any ado, let's go ahead and start and explore a little about careers of the future. So we'll start, of course, with a quote which was written by Albert Einstein ages ago, which is, it's a miracle that curiosity survives formal education. Now, I hope and I pray, and I am seeing it today, that this is no more necessarily true, because education itself is becoming more and more liberal, right? Because of NEP as well. But it is important to see that curiosity earlier was not as much given a boost or, given a heads up. At the same time, we have to realize one thing. World is changing at a warp speed. बहुत जल्दी change हो रहा है compared to what it was 10 साल पहले, right? So let's give an idea. What do you mean by this sudden change? So let's take an example. Netflix तो सबने देखा है, सुना है, right? Everybody has an idea of what the platform is. So just to give you an idea, Netflix को 5 साल से भी कम लगे to become the world's biggest studio. And believe me, for a company to become such a huge at such a huge platform, less than 5 years is quite less time, right? And if you see right now the kind of change, there is a change where you're seeing now Netflix is also having its competitions that are doing so well. So things are happening so fast, changes are happening so rapidly, and that's what we have to realize, right? Similarly, let's probably take another example. And especially I feel parents will relate with me और उनको ज्यादा समझेगा मैं इधर क्या बोल रही हूँ. लेकिन हम अभी वीडियोस जैसे हमारी VCR रहते थे, या CDs, cassettes, I'm sure now, students today will not even know these things. We don't buy them anymore, right? Everything हमारे phone पे रहता है, app पे रहता है. You have different music apps, movie apps. So you don't buy videos and music anymore. Similarly, now 2 years back, 3 years back, चलो 5 साल पहले अगर आपको कोई बोलता, और स्पेशली अगर आपके पेरेंट्स को कोई बोलता कि okay, you can work from anywhere, it's going to happen, I'm sure all of us would say it's not possible, right? Something like an idea of work from anywhere or even work from home is not something which is going to sustain or stay. But it did come and it has sustained, and that is why today I am also working from anywhere, right? I'm also having this broadcast and being a part of this session from anywhere, rather from home. So it is a reality today, and it is happening, and it is working because of technology. Similarly, Bitcoin, right? We are so used to seeing money हाथ में, right? Coins हमारे हाथ में चाहिए, पैसा हाथ में चाहिए. अब सब digital हो रहा है, and more than that, money itself is becoming digital. And slowly, Bitcoin is becoming like how हम gold में invest करते थे 10 साल पहले. अभी हम slowly Bitcoin is taking that place. And I don't know if how many of you are aware, लेकिन there are some luxury car brands like Rolls Royce जो अभी भी Bitcoin as an investment या as a legal form of payment लेती है for their luxury sector of cars. So that is happening. It is turning into a reality. And something which is really, really positive for India is the kind of unicorns that we have, right? The kind of venture capitalist companies that we have, the kind of startups that we have. And it's just continuously growing, right? I'm sure right now it's going to be 100 plus, right? But there is something important जो हम भूल रहे हैं इस सब में, कि हमारे skills grow हो रहे हैं क्या, लेकिन are we able to tackle this growth, right? Yes, we are coming up with startups, हमारे पास ideas है, लेकिन हमें अपने skills भी वैसे ही develop करने पड़ेंगे. So we have to understand कि knowledge भी multiply कर रहा है, right? Like for example, let me give you an idea. Statistically, in until 1900s, right? जो sum total human knowledge था, it used to double every 100 years. तो हर 100 साल में आपका जो human knowledge है वो double होता था. But that has changed. So a study was conducted by IBM very recently in the year of 2020. Now they have estimated it's doubling every 12 years. 100, imagine from 100 to 12. That's a drastic reduction, and it will change again, right? Within 2 years, another study might say in 6 years, right? And something that we've seen, especially in the past 3 years of the pandemic, that's medicine. In medicine, it is believed to happen every 73 days. And I think we've seen that ourselves. We had alpha, beta, gamma, delta, omicron, right? So many variations. And this is something that is happening because of technology, because of our knowledge that is multiplying, right? That knowledge that is aging much faster. A degree in a discipline now, uska value 5 साल में खत्म भी हो जाता है. You have to add something. कुछ continuous improvement चाहिए ही, कुछ नया चाहिए, right? Something that is giving you more knowledge, is giving you more growth, is required for your degree or discipline to sustain its value. And that's about knowledge, right? Also, काम जो हम कर रहे हैं वो भी change हो रहा है, वो भी बदल रहा है. 10 साल पहले जो हम करते थे, there are a lot of those activities, works jobs that doesn't exist anymore, जो हम करते भी नहीं है, right? तो job market itself is changing so fast कि आजकल की generation 10 different jobs, मतलब they have changed 10 different jobs until they're 40. You can't even imagine that for my parents' time, where they had done मुश्किल से शायद 2 job उन्होंने change किए होंगे until they were 40. But that's not the case anymore, right? Basically हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा अभी? We have to prepare for jobs जो अभी तक exist भी नहीं करते. We have to be ready to solve the kind of problems जो अभी तक है भी नहीं और हमें पता भी नहीं है कि क्या है, right? Something like COVID-19. हमें पता नहीं था वो क्या है, हमें पता नहीं था वो कब आएगा, क्या आएगा, कुछ पता नहीं था, बट आया and we had to be prepared. We had to solve that problem. Another very important thing, which I think now parents would also agree, because 10 years down the line, parents would say, अगर बच्चे खेल रहे होंगे, गेमिंग चल रहा है, यूट्यूब चल रहा है, तो it was always a thing कि अरे आप you're wasting your time, क्या करोगे, ऐसे थोड़ी ना लाइफ बनाओगे. But that has also changed now. अभी you'll hear things like insta influencer हो गया, या gaming youtubers हो गए, या content creators हो गए. All of these have actually become thriving careers, not a part-time job anymore. इसके लिए people are actually earning, उनको पैसा मिलता है for their talent, for what they are putting across, right? Because of technology. क्योंकि platforms इतने आ चुके हैं जहां आप खुद अपना आपका एक business, अपने आप का एक platform create कर सकते हो, and you can do a well enough job and get a good sustainable amount of earnings from there as well. Now, this is a predicted scenario, and if you can see, it's a predicted scenario just for next year, so it's not far away. वो scenario बहुत पास है हमारे. 9% of the workforce जो है ना, they will be deployed in jobs which don't exist, जो अभी तक हम सोच भी नहीं पा रहे, या अभी हम बता भी नहीं पाएंगे कि ऐसे कुछ jobs रहेंगे. 9% of the workforce will be in such jobs by next year. Similarly, 37% of the whole workforce will require new skills. उनको अपने skills बदलने पड़ेंगे, upgrade करने पड़ेंगे to grow, to sustain in the environment that they are in, right? And AI, right, which is something we hear so much about. Abhi we are having a lot of research going on. बहुत सारे बच्चे want to do their, study career in this particular path. AI will very, very drastically affect जो हमारे IT और financial sectors हैं. And how? They'll replace जो भी हमारे reputation वाले jobs हैं, या जो भी हमारे mechanical jobs हैं, जो सिखाए जा सकते हैं, जो program हो सकते हैं, वो AI replace करेगा, वो jobs चले जाएंगे, right? Or at least most of them will cease to exist. So let's take some examples, right? Likely jobs जो AI replace कर सकता है, हमारा telemarketing, which is something is repetitive, right? आपको बार बार एक ही चीज को repeat करना है, बताना है, जिसके लिए you can do that and program AI, right? You can use an application like AI to do telemarketing. Bookkeeping clerks, compensation and benefit managers, you can convert this, you can automate all of this. Receptionists, couriers, proofreaders जो रहते हैं, computer support specialist, already I'm sure आप ये भी देख रहे होगे, इनमें से बहुत सारे already हो भी गए replace, they're already been taken over by technology as well. Market research analysts, retail sales people जो हम देखते हैं, ये सब अभी slowly आपको automated दिखेगा. You'll have automated robots, right, which will be taking care of all these kind of jobs. But there is something very important here as well, कि there are certain jobs, कुछ ऐसे jobs रहते हैं जो AI नहीं replace कर सकता, at least not that is known for us till now, which is one, creative jobs, right? Jobs जो scientists हैं, novelists हैं, artists हैं, ये jobs replace करना AI के लिए possible नहीं है. उसके लिए एक अलग creative thinking का skill लगता है, जो currently AI में programmable नहीं है. These are not skills that are programmable, right? Similarly, complex और strategic jobs जो रहते हैं, जो decision making वाले jobs रहते हैं, like CEO हो गया, diplomats हो गए, या economists हो गए, where जो situation रहता है, it's constantly changing, right? आज का problem कल का problem नहीं रहेगा, कल का परसों का नहीं रहेगा. तो ऐसे लोगों को भी you cannot have AI replace, right? Because कुछ भी situation कभी भी आ सकती है. For that you need somebody with an EQ and an IQ, right? Somewhere where you cannot program the decision, right? It is very strategic, and you need a human touch here. And another very, very important one, which is the empathetic jobs. जो AI replace चाहे भी तो नहीं कर सकते, that is teachers, doctors, nurses, right? Because जितना भी virtual हम जा भी रहे हैं, and that's great, but at the end of the day you need that personal touch, you need that teacher or doctor to console you, to teach you, to motivate you, right? To explain things जो AI आपको कभी explain नहीं कर सकता. AI आपको जैसे will be able to just teach you on a wide basis of what they're programmed to teach. But more than that, when you need support, whether it's moral, whether it's studies related, that is something only a personal touch can bring in. Other than this, there are a lot of as yet known jobs, right? हमें अभी भी नहीं पता, बहुत सारे ऐसे jobs है जैसे fleet operators है for self-driven trucks, right? Because you need operators to help and understand कि ये जो self-driven trucks है ये कहाँ जा रहे हैं, कैसे जा रहे हैं, are they going in the right path? कुछ गड़बड़ हुई तो somebody has to take care of that, right? So these are jobs जो you need person or human touch there. You cannot have an AI figure it out or make a decision in these scenarios. Now, that's about the kind of jobs that AI cannot take or the kind of jobs that AI will replace. But then we have to also agree कि AI के आने से कुछ jobs create भी होंगे, right? For example, trainers. ठीक है, तो अभी AI को भी सिखाना पड़ेगा कि कैसे you need to replicate human behavior. जैसे for example, customer service chatbots. Now they won't automatically know. उनको भी you need trainers to explain to them how to mimic human behaviors. So that's one kind of job which you will see in the market, which is created due to AI and didn't exist पहले. Similarly, explainers, right? So there is a big gap जो आपके technology या technologists के बीच में होता है और जो business leaders है या जो strategic leaders है and हम लोग, which is the आम जनता or the आम public, right? There has to be somebody who can explain this technology, how to operate it, कैसे चलती है, इसके you know disadvantages क्या है, limitations क्या है, how do you have to be careful, what do you have to do, how do you have to use it. तो ये सारी चीजों के लिए also you need a new kind of work, which is the work of explainers. And finally, you will also have sustainers, right? Now, these are the kind of people who will ensure that these AI systems, they're operating जैसे they're designed to operate, right? They're not malfunctioning or they're not going off route, right? And that उनके कोई जो consequences भी होते हैं, कुछ breakdown हो गया, some other issue, some malfunction, that needs to be addressed, right? And for that, you will need a worker, you will need a human. So that's another kind of job that will be created because of AI. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but this is about a big change जो अभी आया है recent, which is STEM to STEAM. Now, first, let's just talk about STEM. So STEM का it's an acronym basically, which उसका full form रहता है science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? Because these are the top skills that most of the countries look for, from students or from the future youth, right? For them to come up with technology, come up with concepts, come up with innovation that will lead to a good business, right? But there is something that we have to realize in this STEM, something that was missed and something that now we've realized needed to be added is the A, which entails the art part of it, which is also very important. Now I'll tell you why that big change came or why that's important. Because if you go for tasks that are purely based math पे, science पे, या engineering पे, they are vulnerable to automation, right? Because most of these tasks, not all, but most of them, they are steps. कि पहले आपको ये करना है, फिर ये करना है, then you have integration, differentiation, उसके steps रहते हैं. Similarly in science, similarly in engineering. जो ऐसे tasks रहते हैं, they are very easy or they're vulnerable to automation, right? But अगर आप इन्हीं tasks में, अगर आप कुछ और skills add करते हो, right? If you add skills like communication skills हो गया, or you have like critical thinking skills or multidisciplinary skills where you're not an expert just in one aspect, लेकिन आप 2-3 subjects के expert हो या idea है आपको कि you can link different subjects like maths and engineering and science together. जब आप ये skills add करते हो, so then the person becomes more valuable and very difficult to replace, right? फिर आपकी value in your company, in the market becomes much higher because आपको replace करना मुश्किल हो जाता है, because you don't only know the technical part or you don't know only the task-based part. You also have skills which are not something an AI can replicate or can be automated. But similarly, अभी art add किया है, but art cannot be unique or alag, right? It also needs, even pure art needs the understanding of technology. So even if you go into pure arts, आपको basic technology जो world में हो रहा है, surrounding world में relevant है, it is required for you to adapt to that and know that as well. So it's not possible कि आप सिर्फ STEM को accept करें और सिर्फ उस area में expert रहे या सिर्फ art के area में expert रहे. What now we're looking for is STEAM, where you have an expertise and knowledge or the understanding of various aspects, right? A multidisciplinary approach जिसको हम बोलते हैं. Now, what I would say, something like a right kind of education, या आज की century में, आज के दिन में कैसा education हमें बच्चों को provide करना चाहिए, right? We need to impart skills like critical thinking हो गया, complex problem solving हो गया, as well as written and oral communication, right? And school में itself हमें teamwork और innovation भी सिखाना पड़ेगा अभी से, right? Of course, the technical aspects और आपके जो subjects है वो रहेंगे ही रहेंगे, but the kind of teaching, right? The kind of other skills that are required जो eventually जाके even admissions looks for, or even in the job market, they look at these kind of skills itself, right? You need to also understand कि how do you get a grounding in different subjects and not just एक ही subject, right? जहाँ पे आप 2-3 subject को explore करके connections ढूंढ सकते हो, right? Like for example, biology और psychology में क्या connection मिल सकता है, right? Or maybe something like a physics and biology. That's why you have subjects like biophysics, right? Biostats है. तो ये kind of different subjects exploration is also something that we should provide, and we should push students who are interested in, because इससे बहुत सारे innovative outcomes आते हैं, इससे बहुत सारे innovations आते हैं जो पहले कभी exist नहीं करते थे या हमने उस साइड में कभी सोचा ही नहीं. एक और है where we have to teach students, right, to sort of reflect and do their own in-depth thinking. So we cannot tell them what to think, right? We cannot tell them कि this is exactly how you have to think, ये ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. अभी it's time कि हम उनको एक issue दे, उसकी different अलग अलग views दे, right? And they make up their own analysis, सोच के समझ के हर व्यू पॉइंट को एनालाइज करके फिर we need to train the students to come up with their own thinking, their own mindset, right? Their own understanding and analysis of any issue. Right questions. Something pehle I think was a little bit missing was we have to push students to ask questions and to ask the right questions instead of seeking answers, right? We need to be ready for the students to look for the correct questions, curiosity, right? We need to introduce curiosity more and more in the students. We need those students to haath uthaye or questions puche, or they don't have to be scared. They don't have to feel that, maybe this is a dumb question, because that is something which is very important today. उससे ही आपको innovation मिलता है, उससे ही आपके skills garner होते हैं. So it is important for us to orient students towards asking the correct questions, right? We also need to combine qualitative, right? The quality as well as quantity, and not just quality or not just quantity. Because कोई भी business ले लो, कोई भी, right? It has to have two contexts. One is human और दूसरा आपका technical या financial रहता है. दोनों मिला के ही एक business बनता है. You cannot be separate, right? You cannot have a business only with technical or financial context or expertise, or only a business only with human context. It's not possible. You have to interlink both, which is why quality and quantity both need to be combined in the 21st century. And something which is so very important is teaching students how to learn and prepare them for knowledge and work जो evolve करते रहेगा. So we have to prepare students to know कि आपको eventually और सीखना पड़ेगा और evolve होना पड़ेगा in the coming years, and they should have that skill to be open to learning and what we call relearn, right? Which you must have all heard also, right? Relearn, learn. So that is something we need to push students to do as well, because maybe आज हम जो समझते हैं, the way the world works, the way a few of the technologies, innovations are, maybe 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, that will be challenged, and maybe that might be proved incorrect. Yeah, there will be a change in that thought process. So we should be capable enough and skilled enough to be able to accept it and unlearn what we had learned earlier and relearn something new. So that's a skill we need to equip our students and our children with much, much earlier on, right now itself. Of course, now it's no more just important that you just speak up and you need video analysis, because I'm sure all of us have realized now so many different processes because of technology and because of animation have become so much easier to understand, right? कितने प्रोसेसेस हमें अभी सिर्फ एनिमेशन देखते हैं तो इतने आसानी से बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट समझ आते हैं जो पहले रट्टा मार मार के एक्सप्लेन कर करके बहुत मुश्किल से समझ आते थे. So video, audio, and text really, really helps in a lot of ways that we didn't realize earlier. So we have technology, we have come to a level where we can use these innovations. It's the best time to make use of that, right? To for the benefit of our children, of our students, of our youth, and our future. Of course, best knowledge resources accessible hone chahiye to all students, whether it's books, whether it's online content, YouTube videos, text. And that's why I'm glad that this is also a YouTube live. So it is accessible for all students and parents to have a good idea of this session or various other sessions that you will be having after this. Another aspect is combining physical and virtual learning, because it is very, very true that only virtual learning or only physical learning both can have their disadvantages and their negative effects. But when you combine the advantages of both physical and virtual learning into one, that can only give you a great advantageous result, right? Which will give you the perfect sort of learning for students as well. So which is why you need to combine the physical learning, which we were very used to, with the virtual learning, which we are now coming into context and we're learning, right? Evaluation continuously. Now, when I say evaluation continuously, I don't mean ki har din ek test rakho, har din ek test rakho. I mean more ki maybe ek activity karo, maybe ek presentation karo, maybe like an assignment karo, group activity karo, jahan pe you will get an idea ki bachcho ko samajh raha hai ki kya ho raha hai, jo what is being taught is being delivered and is being understood by the students. Instead of just 2 to 3 days in a year, ek bada test rakhe for 3 hours or 2 hours and evaluating the children, right? And these tests, they have to be for understanding, not ki unki memory test kare. Jo pehle hota tha, that needs to change. Abhi, we can't test their memory anymore, because now, honestly, there's so much technology and so much cloud memory and so much data handling that we have, where memory can be stored, where data that needs to, data which is jo hum ratta karte the, does not need to be done anymore. Now it's more important ki hame concepts samjhe, right? That we understand the basics, and that's the most important part that we need to focus on. So that's a little bit about, what we should do now to be prepared for the future, right? What kind of careers will we have in the future that we don't have now, or what kind of careers will probably not exist 4 years, 5 years down the line, and which actually do exist right now. So this was just a basic gist for all of us to sort of come together and realize that we are in a scenario and in a situation where we also need to evolve with the knowledge, with the work that's evolving on a yearly basis. Now, I just want to, this is something that I found very interesting, so I thought, let me take you through it. So these are a few of the CEOs of some of the most well-known companies, ranging from e-commerce to tech companies to coffee or food industry. And I just wanted to take you through the kind of degrees they've gone through, right? So maybe we talk about Howard, who is the Starbucks CEO, and the kind of degree he went through was BS, which is Bachelor's in Science in Communications, right? Similarly, let's talk about the CEO of HP, right? I am using an HP laptop. A lot of us have, gone through this. It's a tech company. The CEO has a Bachelor's in Arts in Medieval History and Philosophy, right? Similarly, we'll talk about the CEO of YouTube, Susan. She has a degree in Bachelor's in Arts in History and Literature. Let's take another one, which is Alibaba. Now we know this is the chairman of Alibaba. He has a degree in Bachelor's in Arts in English, right? So they all went through a very different sort of education where they didn't only focus on one major, one subject, right? They focused on learning. They focused on learning in a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary format, right? Which is something that you will see in liberal education, right? And something you'll hear a lot now in the coming years. I'll tell you why, not just because of universities that are coming up with liberal education sort of formats, but also because of NEP, right? And also because of our own ministry and our own education sector changing and going towards liberalization of the way of studying, right? The way of learning and teaching. Now, before we go into depth of liberal education, it's very important to break a few myths regarding liberal education. One of them is the fact that it is something that is a new concept, which is not true. Maybe something that I can give you an example जो आपको अच्छे से समझेगा. गुरुकुल का example अगर आप लेते हो, तो gurukuls are something which are very close to some of a liberal education, right? They do follow a very holistic way of learning and teaching. Second myth is कि liberal education is just for, say, art students या humanity students. That's another big myth, क्योंकि liberal education degree नहीं है, liberal education course नहीं है, liberal education actually methodology है teaching और learning की, right? कैसे एक subject पढ़ाया जाता है, कैसे एक subject आप चुनते हो, right? कितने subjects आप चुनते हो, कौन से streams से चुनते हो, आपको कितना freedom है वो subjects choose करने में. That concept, that methodology is called as liberal education. So basically, in this kind of a university setup या school setup, you have the freedom to choose कि आपको क्या पढ़ना है. Now, I won't elaborate on this here, because I will talk a little bit about the undergraduate program at Ashoka, since we are also a liberal education university. And when I explain to you the kind of subjects, और आप कैसे choose कर सकते हो और कौन से area से choose कर सकते हो, you will understand what I mean by this freedom to choose what you want to study. Now, in a liberal education institute, university, it's not that आप सिर्फ humanities के subjects पढ़ रहे हो या आप सिर्फ arts में जा रहे हो. नहीं. You study natural sciences, social sciences, and humanities. So आप सिर्फ एक particular sector या एक particular section या stream नहीं पढ़ाई कर रहे हो. आप अलग-अलग type के नए ways of natural sciences है, जैसे social sciences है. You will see the kind of subjects that we offer, and you'll get an idea what I mean by this as well. And something very important, जो liberal education का USP या main aim है, the approach of teaching, right? The approach of learning and teaching, which is interdisciplinary approach. So I'll just give you an example. अगर आप किसी भी liberal education university में जाते हो, and if you go, say for example, into a literature class, right? या English का आपका एक class है और आपकी faculty English की है. Now, what you will see in a liberal education university is, yes, she or he will talk about the content of the novel or article, whatever is being reviewed for that particular, lecture. But that's not it. You'll also see them talk about the author. You'll also see them talk about when the author was born and how that time period, right? How that time period affected his or her writing. Or where the author was born and how that geographical location, right? How that affected his or her writing. So you will be looking at one particular article or one particular novel from so many different viewpoints, and not just through the standard viewpoint of the content of that article, right? You will be digging much deeper into that particular article or novel and understand it more through its roots, and you'll get a better in-depth understanding of that particular content that you are reading or going through. And that's a skill that you'll start to develop. So आप जब newspaper भी पढ़ना चालू करोगे या कोई और text पढ़ना चालू करोगे या research papers लिखना चालू करोगे, वो skill आप में embed हो जाएगा, जहाँ पे आप सिर्फ एक व्यू से नहीं देखेंगे एक particular article को या एक particular section या content को, आप बहुत सारे views उसमें add करेंगे, and that's something that will help you, right? So another aspect is that liberal education allows both breadth and depth. Now, what this means is depth talks about, the specialization. Basically, आपको जो subject में आपका career करना है, which subject you want to explore, which subject you want to go much deeper into, right? But at the same time, there is another aspect, which is the breadth, where you are also garnering skills of various foundation skills, like basic skills that regardless आप कौन से भी depth में जाओ, वो skills आपको help में आएंगे ही आएंगे. And if you see in the previous slides also, we discussed about how now आज की century में 10 different jobs students या people are changing just by the age of 40. So to do this 10 different jobs, अभी ये 10 different jobs चाहे एक sector में भी हो सकते हैं या अलग sectors में भी हो सकते हैं, because you never know, maybe you find something interesting and you want to change your sector, you want to change the direction that you were going in. Now, when you want to do these kind of things, your breadth helps you a lot, because your foundation skills like critical thinking, logical reasoning, problem solving ho gaya, communication ho gaya, these kind of skills are what will help you do that jump, right? Take that leap of faith, which is why we equip you with both the skills and not just one. We don't only equip you with depth or only breadth. We try to equip you with both breadth and depth towards education. So that was a little to give you a context about liberal education, right? To give you an understanding of what a liberal education university entails, or even a school for that matter of fact, and what's the mindset and ideology of a liberal education sort of, learning, teaching. So this is a quote that I really like, and I'm sure some of you must have already gone through it or seen it, but it's very relevant to today, right? The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Right? So आज अभी उसका illiterate का meaning ही थोड़ा थोड़ा change हो रहा है, right? अभी है कैसा है कि अगर हम किसी चीज को learn करके उसको unlearn करके relearn करना नहीं सीखेंगे, तो फिर भी हमें बहुत प्रॉब्लम आएगा, तब भी we will be considered close to being an illiterate. That's why it is important that we get those skills, right? We equip ourselves in a way to be able to learn, but at the same time unlearn if there is a new understanding which has sort of countered the earlier one, and then relearn a topic, relearn a strategy, relearn an idea, which is what is very important today, because technology ने बहुत सारी चीजें change कर ली है, बहुत सारी चीजें for the better change की है, जहाँ पे हमें पहले के जो हमारे दिमाग में ideas थे उनको थोड़ा unlearn करना पड़ता है, right? We have to let go of them to be able to relearn and understand these new ideas, which is why this particular quote is very, very relevant to today's day and age. So now I'll quickly, not taking much time, take you through the undergraduate program at Ashoka University. So you'll get a good idea of the kind of subjects that we offer, right? How do you choose your subjects? How do you go ahead with the course? So just to give you an idea, we offer a bachelor's in arts, bachelor's in science, honors degree. Now, this is something that I want to update here. There is an updation to this particular slide as well. Now, because of NEP, I'm sure, I don't know how many of you are aware. So we come under UGC, and until last year, we were only allowed to have BA, BSc honors as a 3-year degree. But now that NEP has come in and the norms have been liberalized and changed, so now we are bringing in the 4-year program, right? So undergraduate program will be a 4-year degree with a BA, BSc honors plus research, right? Which is what you would get in the 4 years. You do have an option to exit in the 3rd year, right? And if you do end up exiting in the 3rd year, then you would get a BA, BSc honors degree without the research part, right? So you have that option of exiting in the 3rd year, or you have the option of completing all the 4 years and getting your BA, BSc honors plus research. Now, in these years that you will be at Ashoka, you will have to go through foundation courses, major and minor courses, and co-curricular courses. Now I'll take you through each of these, starting with foundation courses. So this is that breadth that I was talking about in the breadth and depth in the liberal education slide. So these are 9 foundation courses which are mandatory for all students to take. Why? Because they introduce you to 9 different disciplines, right? वो आपको एक idea देता है कि history कैसा है, sciences कैसे रहते हैं, psychology क्या होता है, right? Environmental studies क्या है? क्योंकि in school, whatever you do, you cannot take more than a few number of subjects, right? आप उसके ज़्यादा explore नहीं कर पाओगे, because time का भी factor होता है, content syllabus का भी factor होता है. तो इधर we give you an option कि even the subjects जो आपने पहले कभी explore नहीं किए, you have the option of exploring these subjects and making up your mind कि maybe some of these subjects might interest you. That's why these 9 are compulsory and mandatory for all students to take. Now these 9 need to be completed in the first 2 years. So it's not कि आपको पहले साल में सिर्फ फाउंडेशन कोर्सेज करने, ऐसा कोई मैंडेटरी नहीं है. आप चूज कर सकते हो आपको कैसे फाउंडेशन कोर्सेज लेने हैं. चाहे आप फर्स्ट ईयर में सारे 9 कर लीजिए, या फर्स्ट ईयर में आप 6-7 ही कीजिए और फिर नेक्स्ट ईयर में बाकी लीजिए, बट आपको सारे 9 2 साल में कंप्लीट करने हैं, राइट. एंड अगेन ये सब्जेक्ट्स भी जो आप देख रहे हो, दे आर ऑल्सो टॉट इन अ वेरी इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी सॉर्ट ऑफ मैनर. So even if you are studying great books, like I had mentioned, you will not only have the literature part being explained or sought after. You will do in-depth analysis. You will do analysis of the writer as well. Ki why is this particular article, a particular book written in the way it's written? उसपे क्या factors है, क्या influence किया है उस writing को, right? उस author को. So you will go through in a more depth knowledge of the foundation courses. But these are all mandatory, regardless आप कौन से subject के लिए जाते हो. Now taking you to the most important and the main slide, which is the majors and minors. So now major is basically the subject which you will pursue your degree in, which is the bachelor's in arts, or bachelor's in science honors plus research degree. Now you have 23 plus options for your majors to choose from. Now the options are in the first and the second column on this particular slide. So you can either go for a pure major, right? So which means you go for a pure subject, जैसे biology हो गया, chemistry है, physics, computer science है, political science हो गया, psychology है, sociology है, English है, history है. So you can go for that. But you also have an option to go for interdisciplinary major, जहाँ पे दो similar subjects को combine करके they're offered as one. क्योंकि many a times बच्चों को दो subjects पसंद आते हैं. Like let's take an example. There are a lot of kids जिनको इकोनॉमिक्स पसंद आता है, बट उनको थोड़ा फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट भी सीखना है, राइट. दे आर आल्सो इंटरेस्टेड इन फाइनेंस. या कुछ बच्चे ऐसे भी होते हैं जिनको कंप्यूटर साइंस या डेटा एनालिटिक्स में बहुत इंटरेस्ट है, यू नो एआई यूएक्स यूआई डिजाइन में इंटरेस्ट है, लेकिन उनको थोड़ा बिजनेस एक्यूम भी लेना है, राइट. दे वांट टू गेट अ फ्यू लिटिल बिट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट स्किल्स एज वेल. सो फॉर सच चिल्ड्रन, इंस्टेड ऑफ चूजिंग, यू कैन गो फॉर एन इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी मेजर, राइट. उसके लिए भी आप अगर सेकंड कॉलम देखोगे तो आपके पास ऑप्शंस है, जैसे कंप्यूटर साइंस एंड एंटरप्रेन्योर लीडरशिप, मैथमेटिक्स इन कंप्यूटर साइंस, इंग्लिश इन क्रिएटिव राइटिंग हो गया, इकोनॉमिक्स एंड फाइनेंस, इकोनॉमिक्स एंड हिस्ट्री, इंग्लिश एंड मीडिया स्टडीज, पॉलिटिक्स, फिलोसफी एंड इकोनॉमिक्स. एंड इसमें दिस ईयर में साइकोलॉजी एंड फिलोसफी भी ऐड हुआ है, एंड फिलोसफी एंड कंप्यूटर साइंस भी ऐड हुआ है. सो यू हैव a choice between all of these options, right? Similarly, इसके अलावा you can also go for a minor. Now to explain you, minor is basically half of a major. मतलब you're taking lesser number of courses. So just to give you an example, say for example major में आपको 12 courses लेने हैं, तो minor complete करने के लिए एक subject में आपको सिर्फ 6 courses लेने हैं. Now minor के लिए या तो आप तीसरे column में से subjects choose कर सकते हो. So you can either go for subject like entrepreneurship, या चाइना स्टडीज, संस्कृत स्टडीज, मीडिया स्टडीज हो गया, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस हो गया, एनवायरमेंटल स्टडीज हो गया, विजुअल आर्ट्स हो गया विच इज लाइक फिल्म मेकिंग. और अगर दीज आर नॉट एज एक्साइटिंग तो आप यू कैन ऑल्सो चूज योर माइनर फ्रॉम द प्योर मेजर्स कैटेगरी. तो जस्ट टू गिव यू एन एग्जाम्पल, अ स्टूडेंट कैन डू अ मेजर इन बायोलॉजी और वो माइनर संस्कृत स्टडीज में कर सकता है, या मेजर इकोनॉमिक्स एंड फाइनेंस में एंड माइनर फिलोसफी में कर सकते हैं, या मेजर केमिस्ट्री में एंड माइनर साइकोलॉजी में, राइट. तो आपके पास 200 प्लस कॉम्बिनेशंस है टू चूज फ्रॉम. एंड द बेस्ट पार्ट इज दैट अ स्टूडेंट हैज 3 semesters to make that choice. Now what I mean by that is you need to declare your major and minor only at the end of 3rd semester. So you have 3 semesters to experiment, foundation courses लेके समझना, seniors से बात करना, faculty से बात करना, खुद का research करना, and then finally make an informed decision at the end of 3rd semester. Right? So that is something that we really give students कि आप find your own path, right? Be passionate enough and be explorative and try to find your own path कि आपको कहाँ interest है and which direction do you want to go. Now, something very important before we go on, of course, you would have also heard of this, which is the mandatory requirements. कि a lot of students and parents might have this doubt कि particular subject के लिए कुछ prerequisites रहेंगे. तो वो क्या है? So for Ashoka, let me tell you, there are 2 subjects which have a mandatory prerequisite. One is physics, right? So agar your child wants to do physics as a major or a minor, right, at Ashoka, they need to have taken physics in their 11th and 12th. Okay. And the second subject is mathematics. So same way, अगर बच्चे को math लेना है as their major or minor, then they need to have taken math in their 11th and 12th. Okay, other than this, पहले till last year for economics, physics and computer science, इन 3 subjects के लिए math was compulsory in 11th and 12th. But now we have actually removed that, and you can actually apply for these 3 as well. The only thing is that in the first semester, you will have to take up a mathematical thinking foundation course, which was the part of the foundation courses, and a calculus enabler course. And of course, you need to pass in that. So with that, if you are able to do that and achieve the grades that are required, then yes, you can still go for economics, physics, and computer science, even being a non-math student. So जो पहले last year ये restriction था, ये restriction भी अभी हट गया है. So only mathematics and physics has that mandatory requirement. Other than that, you can be a student जिसने 11th और 12th में biology कभी नहीं लिया है, आप तब भी अपना major biology में कर सकते हैं. Similarly, you could be a student जिसने psychology नहीं लिया 11th and 12th में, आप तब भी अपना major psychology में कर सकते हो. Same for political science हो गया, same for anthropology हो गया, right? Same for history, same for English. So this is something which is very interesting, that you could be somebody in a commerce field and take up a science subject, या science field में रह सकते हो और आप undergraduate में आके you're taking an arts course or a humanities course or a commerce course. So वो freedom आपके पास है, right? Now this is about the major and minors. इसके अलावा 2 co-curriculars भी लेना जरूरी है in the 3 or 4 years that you will be at Ashoka, right? Now these co-curriculars you can select from art. It can be in filmmaking, performing arts से ले सकते हो, languages हो सकता है, languages में दोनों ancient और modern languages है, right? Photography हो सकता है या theater भी हो सकता है. So 2 is mandatory because उसके credits रहते हैं. कौन से 2 आपको लेना है वो completely up to you है, right? So that's a basic details about the major, minor and co-curriculars. Moving quickly to the last part, which is the admission process. So our admissions for the undergraduate program of UG 23, which is for next year, they have already started. Our applications had opened up from 17th October. And right now we are in round 2. Our round 1 deadline just passed. It was on 23rd November. So currently now we're in round 2 and we have generally 4 rounds. And I'll show you the timeline in the next slide, but just to quickly take you through the admission process. This is for, of course, after 12th. So when you are currently in your 12th grade, you can start your application with us. There is no application for a fee for you to start or submit your application, right? So now in the application, we take 5 aspects and all 5 aspects are given equal importance, right? First is the academic scores, where we take your 10th, 11th, 12th. Now 12th, of course, if you're applying right now, you would not have given your both. So we take school predicted or self-predicted scores. All right. हमारा पास कोई academically कोई minimum criteria नहीं है. हम consistency देखते हैं over the years. So there's no minimum criteria. आप apply कर सकते हो with any level of percentage or any marks. But it would be good अगर आपके marks consistent है, right? So that's academic scores. दूसरा हो गया personal essays. So we have 2 personal essays where we give you 2 prompts and you need to write an essay on that. Of course, word limit रहता है उसका. Now they're completely personal. It is just for us to understand you better as a person, to understand your personality, the way you think, right? The way you deal with situations and scenarios, what fascinates you, what ideas do you like? So just to get a sense of these aspects and know you more than just academics or non-academics. So this is the second very important aspect. Third, आपके application form में letter of recommendation लेता है, which you can take from anyone in your professional capacity, right? Not anyone in your personal capacity. Fourth aspect in the application form is your non-academic engagement. तो non-academic engagement में आप आपके सारे extra curriculars डाल सकते हो. Now extra curriculars आपका dance, music, sports हो सकता है, but that's not it. अगर आप फोटोग्राफी में इंटरेस्टेड हो या आप पेंटिंग करते हो, आप आर्टिस्ट हो, आप कैलीग्राफी करते हो, मे बी यू हैव अ वेबसाइट, राइट, और यू हैव अ ब्लॉग channel, maybe you have a YouTube channel, maybe you have an Instagram page of your photography or any other talent that you are passionate about. All of that is considered as non-academic engagement. So non-academic engagement में आपको 3 डालने होते हैं. This is the fourth aspect. And finally, fifth aspect है, which is the Ashoka Aptitude Assessment. Now, this is an aptitude test, very general, curated by Cambridge. It is just to get a better understanding of your logical reasoning, critical thinking skills. It's not technical, it's not subject specific. और उसका sample paper available रहता है on the website for you to have a look at and practice if needed. But you don't really need much of preparation because this is very general and you can actually just write the test straight away as well. But still, we understand children do need a format. So for that, we have sample available on the website as well. Along with the MCQ part of it, which is the Ashoka Aptitude Assessment, at the same date and same time, there will also be an on-the-spot essay. So it's a complete 2-hour aptitude test, which consists of 1.5 hours of the Ashoka Aptitude part, the MCQ questions, and a half an hour section for the on-the-spot essay, where you're given 2 topics and you choose one, whichever is more interesting and you want to take up, and you write on that particular topic on the spot. You get 30 minutes, there's no word limit. So all these 5 factors are mandatory, important, and all are given equal weightage. Now, if you're a student जिसने SAT या ACT score या दिया है, we will accept the score, लेकिन वो optional रहता है. आपको तब भी AAA के लिए appear करना ही करना है. So AAA is mandatory, regardless of if you've given SAT or ACT, right? So what I suggest students is, if you're not giving SAT for any other university, just for Ashoka, you don't need to give an SAT because आपको AAA लिखना ही लिखना है. So this is the application process. आप जब ये सारे 5 एस्पेक्ट खत्म करेंगे, उसके बाद एक शॉर्टलिस्टिंग होता है. अगर आपकी एप्लीकेशन शॉर्टलिस्ट होती है, then you get an email for an interview which happens online, right, which is with the panel. Once that is done and say you get accepted, फिर आपको हमारे साइड से confirmed offer आता है. So once you get a confirmed offer, that means you have gotten a seat and you have gotten admission in Ashoka. Now it's your turn to accept and confirm that particular seat. But before that, you also have a chance to apply for financial aid या merit cum means scholarship. Now, financial aid is a very, very important aspect at Ashoka because it is completely need-based. So it's like a need-based scholarship. So it's not based on the merit of the student, it's based on the financial condition of the family. So a family is eligible for 25% to 100% of financial aid, depending on the need, right? Depending on the affordability of that family. तो अगर आपको लगता है कि आप फीस अशोका की नहीं अफोर्ड कर सकते, इट्स ओके, उसके बारे में आप सोचो भी मत, because this is what I tell most parents and students. Focus on getting that shortlist, focus on getting that confirmed offer, right? And then we will help you out with the financial part, right? Because last year itself, we had 143 students who were given 100% financial aid. They were awarded 100% financial aid, which means they pay no amount to us in residence or in tuition, right? And till date, no student has been rejected or denied education just because financial constraints. So that's something that we're very proud of, and that's something which we really push parents and students to understand and believe that if you think कि आपके पास affordability नहीं है, लेकिन the concept of Ashoka, your skills match, then please go ahead and apply and don't worry about the financial aspect. So this is just the admission timeline, right? For you to get an idea. Round 2 का deadline 11th January है. Round 3 का deadline 5th April है. And round 4 is 24th May. Of course, the round 3 and round 4 deadlines have some possibility of having a change depending on board exams and all the things that are not predicted currently. But for now, round 2 ka deadline 11th Jan hai. And the commencement date for now is 21st August. So this particular timeline is available on the website as well. So you can have a look in detail. Now you can apply in any round, but you can only apply in one round in 1 year, right? So अगर आपने already round 1 में apply किया है, and say for example आप reject होते हो, तो आप वापस round 2, 3 या 4 में नहीं apply कर सकते. But आप next year वापस apply कर सकते हैं अगर आपको चाहिए तो. But आप एक ही round पे इस year में apply कर सकते हैं. So that was a little brief from my end about careers, about Ashoka University, about the undergraduate program that we offer, the kind of subjects that we offer. And what I would suggest also is that we have campus tours that happen in person at the university on Mondays and Fridays. So if you get a chance and if you are near Sonipat or in Delhi or Chandigarh, I would really, push that please go for a campus tour. You can register online. Have a look. It goes from 11 to 1 as it's mentioned on the slide, and it really helps parents get a much better sense of the kind of infrastructure, kind of facilities available on campus, and you also get to interact with students on campus. So you get a very good idea of the university as well. So I would really urge parents and students, especially the ones who are in 12th or going to 12th, to please go for a campus tour and get a better idea. Other than that, I hand it back to Paramita ma'am, and we can open for questions and you can take it ahead. I hope it was a good session, and I hope that you took something out of it and there was a learning involved. So thank you for taking out the time and listening to me. And please, Paramita ma'am, take it ahead for any questions if required.
Thank you so much, Swati. That was very, very insightful. I'm sure all the parents and students who attended the session today have taken key takeaways, and you might soon start getting some requests for campus tours. And I think, like you mentioned, with the NEP coming into force, I think liberal education is where we are all headed. So that children get to learn what they want to learn, not what they are enforced to learn. That's typical kind of combinations which were available when we were younger. So Swati, can we just share with them the upcoming session, and then we will open the session for questions. So all the parents and students and teachers and educators from across the country who joined us today for the session, once again, thank you very much from us at Litera Gantavya 2022 for joining in this session today. And so for the next session, which is on the 30th of November, we will have Dr. Rajiv Kumar Singh from the Shiv Nadar University, who will be addressing you, telling you all about Shiv Nadar's undergrad program. And he will also be talking about the multidisciplinary form of education, which to some extent even Swati covered today, the why and how of multidisciplinary education. So please, all of you, please be there. For those who missed the session today, please tell them that they're missing out on a golden opportunity and that they should come back to us and be with us on the session on the 30th of November. Thank you so much, Swati. Once again, we have a few questions which I will want you to address. There is one query which has come in from Darun Pranav at Coimbatore. He wants to know what are the important qualities one needs to be successful in the 21st century.
Okay, so this is going to sound very cliche, but I'm being very honest. It is authenticity and honesty that is the number one, because today, what is happening is we're missing out and losing out on authentic and honest people who are as they say and what they say. So one of the things that you need to take care of is make sure that you are coming out authentic and you make sure you are yourself, right? If there's something that you don't know, you're not interested in, make sure that you present it clearly, in a crisp manner, that this is not something I know and I want to learn about it. Second is curiosity, right? I don't necessarily think curiosity kills the cat, like how the saying generally says. I think it's a very, very important quality and skill to have in today's day and age, right? So be open to learning, and that learning could be in any sector. So for example, if you know that you want to go into medical or medicine, right? Just giving you an example. Still do sit for a liberal education session, or sit for an engineering session, or sit for an astrophysics session for that matter of fact, because you never know how and when you'll be able to interlink medical with any of these segments. So keep yourself open for learning, whichever way that learning comes in from. So these are two things from my end, which I believe that 21st century is very, very needed and required. I hope that does answer.
Yeah, I'm sure that was very insightful. Thank you for that question. I'm sure many of us had that in our mind. And I think what you said is so true, because since we are speaking of jobs that are not relevant today, we don't know what kind of problems, we don't know what kind of job opportunities. Absolutely. So the only way we'll be able to address it is we are constantly asking the right kind of questions. So I think that is going to be the key. One more question which has come in, which is they're asking us that what kind of job opportunities would be available for someone who's doing their undergrad course in data science and AI?
So I feel like the market is filled with data science and AI. In fact, I feel like if you're doing data science and AI, you can start your own startup, right? Because eventually you are doing research in these sectors, right? So you will go into, you'll come up with innovations, ideas, probably research papers, where you can go into a direction where you can become an entrepreneur yourself. So this is something that I tell a lot of students. Try that, because that's something I never got a chance to try, because I was never inbuilt or taught that this is something you can do. If you have an idea, explore it, grow it. So that's one thing that I would specially say. Second is tech industry. There are so many unicorns coming in India also, and not just abroad, which has started in India itself. So you have a lot of sections in tech, not just in tech, any industry that is prone to automation or that can take help from being, can go into AI. All of those industries are your domain. Basically, the field is open for you, because that is the future right now, right? That is where we are going. And so you have a lot of opportunities. You actually have an opportunity in all sorts of field, depending on what kind of innovation and idea that you have and where you want to take it. So,
True.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Swati. Requesting all the parents to use the link in the description to share your questions, if any. Swati is still here with us, and she will be most happy to address all your
Yeah,
questions.
definitely.
So, just to remind all of you, there is a link in the description of the YouTube live session. Please use that link to share all your questions with us. So, Swati, while the other questions are still coming in, I was curious to know myself that since you're taking in people from you said barring physics and math,
Correct.
anybody could have studied anything till grade 12, and
Yeah.
the world is open for them at the undergrad level.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of make up for those 2 years of learning that probably somebody who's done biology or somebody who studied chemistry at the +2 level and is coming in vis-a-vis someone who has not done these 2 years of that particular subject and coming in for the undergrad? How do you balance out their competencies and abilities?
Right. So what happens is, one is that you have the foundation courses also specifically for this reason, because if you see the kind of foundation courses that are there, they're all different subjects. They're all courses in different kind of subjects, and they're all introductory. So they don't really take you into depths of it. For depths of it, you can of course go into the major and select that as your subject. But one is because you're getting an introduction there and then itself. One is if you have any basics that you've learned till 10th, those get clarified. Also, a lot of aspects of 11th and 12th get covered in those foundation courses itself. Secondly, you have faculty taking care of your other courses that you might have missed out. So for example, what happens is in biology, you have 30-40 plus courses that are offered, right? And you have to take up 12. So you choose the kind of course that you want to go for. So say, for example, you don't know much about cell body or plant system, you don't go into that domain, right? If you know that you're interested in genetics and you have a good idea of genetics and knowledge of that, you go ahead and take up subjects or courses in that particular domain. So that's the ideology and that's the way it works. So you don't really have to study what you don't want to study or what you sort of shied away from in 11th and 12th because you didn't want to study those particular courses. So that's how we give you that opening and freedom to choose exactly what you are interested in.
So pretty much in all your majors, there is a vast range that they can pick and choose from, and they need to pick the 12 which they think is most suited to their level of knowledge and curiosity.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So there is another question from Alif of Rudrapur. He's asking, what is the best kind of career option for a mathematics and physics student?
Okay, so I would actually say liberal education, and this is not planned. It just so happened because the option that you've given me is so in that scenario. Because what happens at a liberal education university is you can do the major minor concept, right? And another good thing is if you go for the 4th year, you can actually convert that minor also into an equivalent major. So for example, you're interested in physics and math, so you can take up physics or maths, whichever you're more passionate about. You can take up one of them as a major and take the other as a minor, go for the 4th year, which is the research year as well, and convert that minor, whether you took it in physics or mathematics, into an equivalent major. So you would have done 2 majors, right? You would have done a major in maths and a major in physics, right? In terms of your avenues, one is you can sit for placements, right? Where you can go into research-based companies, right? 2 is you can start your own startup if you want, go into more detailed research. 3 is also you can go for higher education for your PG, right? And especially when students get into physics and mathematics and these kind of subjects, it's more research based, it's more research inclined. So they generally want to go for masters, they want to go for PG. So for example, I can speak for Ashoka. So we have tie-ups with universities like, NYU, Brown, Columbia, NUS in Singapore, London School of Economics. So you can go for your higher research or your PhD as well to these universities to get a more in-depth analysis and maybe innovate something, right? Come up with a new innovation that we don't know about. And like I said, you can also sit for placements, since we have companies coming from all avenues, from tech to research to consulting. So you can go into consulting as well. You can do scientific work. You can go into legal as well. So again, it depends on you. You can go into becoming a scientist as well, right? You can go into data science. So you have avenues, but you need to be careful and you need to understand which avenue is the one that you want to take, right? So opportunities है, बहुत है. Liberal education university especially में है, because आपको दोनों में से choose नहीं करना पड़ रहा है, right? आपको opportunity मिल रही है कि दोनों में आप सीख सकते हो. So take that opportunity and learn both, get a good expertise in both those segments, and then decide. आपको research में जाना है तो आप further research कीजिए. आपको job करनी है for some years तो आप वो भी कर सकते हो, right? आपको आपका खुद का startup या आपका खुद का research center या lab खोलना है तो वो भी कर सकते हो. So it's completely up to you, but there are opportunities and avenues today, luckily, for all the students out there in the sciences.
There are some questions which are coming, which I understand that the children also are kind of a little bit confused. So because you said that there is so many diverse options which are available, so you could never have taken bio and still go ahead and do bio. So there is this question which has come in from Ishan. He's saying that is it good to take mathematics even if you want to go in to do NEET? So if he wants to appear for, probably NEET, he wants to do the medical entrance exam, would it still be recommended to take up a subject like mathematics, which probably, according to the stereotypical mindset, is not a mandate as far as medicine is concerned?
No, I mean, if you are sure that you want to go into medical and the medicine industry, and mathematics is not something that fascinates you or interests you, from my end, from a very personal sense, please don't go for it, because it's just going to increase stress, which NEET already does, I'm sure. So why do you want to add in another thing to give you a stressful outcome, especially when you're going into medicine and medical? And I'm sure you've taken math till 10th. So if I'm not wrong and I'm correct, biology or going into medicine, for you, that sort of basic mathematics that is available for you and understandable till 10th should suffice, especially if you're not interested. Now, there's another segment which I do want to cover, because a lot of students, like for example, myself, I am a PCMB student, right? So I did take up biology because I was interested in biology, but I didn't end up doing medicine. I ended up doing engineering, but I took biology because that is my interest. I liked it. So similarly, if you know that you want to do medical, but you're interested in maths, like you want to learn about it, then go for it. Don't worry about that particular final outcome. But if you're not interested and anyways you're going into medical, then it's okay. Just you can go ahead and drop that. Yeah.
Right. Wonderful, Swati. That was really insightful. One question which came to my mind when you were speaking about placements, what has been the percentage of placements in the last few years with Ashok?
Right. So what I'll do is I'll give you a sense of last year. Right. So we had 350 plus companies come in on campus. We had around 330 plus students placed. Now, the thing is, in our section, there are different type of students. There are some around 20% of students who don't sit for placements because they start off with their own startups, because we have a center for entrepreneurship. So the center for entrepreneurship, 75 plus startups have incubated there itself, right? So a lot of students have started their own startups or their own businesses, so they don't sit for placements. That's one category, right? Another around 20 to 30% of students, they want to go for higher studies, right? So they either through Ashoka or on their own, they end up going for post-graduation for their masters. So again, they don't sit for placements. But from the lot that has sat for placement, like I mentioned, 330 plus students have been placed, and the highest package that we received was 37 lakhs per annum. And there's an average value also from last year, which is 10.6 lakhs per annum, which is a very, very good starting package. I mean, talking very personally, on a personal fund, it is a very good package to start off just after your undergraduation as a fresher.
That's wonderful. I think there's a very bright future, and the future is calling. You just have to make a choice and move ahead. Correct. Is what Absolutely. I understand. Absolutely. There is one last question we'll take from Harsh. He's from Jhansi. He wants to know, how can I choose what subject do I take in grade 11? So he's probably still deliberating on his subject choices for grade 11.
Okay. So see, again, this is again going to sound very generic, but this is because I don't know him in a more personal level to give him my suggestion. But believe me, it is all about what you want to do in the future and what interests you. At the end of the day, there are a lot of things that we have to be equipped with today because there's so much technology and so many things that are ever changing. तो जितना आप स्ट्रेस लेने की और लोगे उतना ही प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट होगा. तो गो अहेड एंड टेक द काइंड ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स जो आपको इंटरेस्टिंग लगते हैं, जो आपको पसंद है, जिसमें आपको इंटरेस्ट है. डोंट गो ऑन द परसेंटेज दैट यू हैव. दिस इज माय रिकमेंडेशन. So you might be a topper, you might have amazing percentage. That doesn't mean कि आपको साइंस में जाना है, क्योंकि ये मेरे साथ हुआ है और ये उस टाइम पे होता भी था. It's not necessary. अगर आपको साइंस के सब्जेक्ट्स पसंद नहीं है, then don't dive into that. And if you know कि आपका फ्यूचर उसमें नहीं है, especially right, कि अगर आपको पता है कि आपको करियर फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, मैथ्स, बायोलॉजी में नहीं करना है, then it doesn't make sense. Maybe you can sit for 2 years and develop skills in a particular sector that you're really interested in. So choose according to your interest, choose according to your future. Don't choose according to your percentage. That's what
I concur on that, Swati, really, because when I was growing up, I think it was a general stereotype that if you're a good student, you have to take science. If you try telling your parents, I want to do humanities, people would probably be in a kind of a shock.
Absolutely.
The percentage achhe aaye in science, why do you want to do arts or humanities? But I think there is a mindset change, and I think with so much happening with the liberal education, I'm sure that mindset is going to completely change.
Something, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I think even after COVID, right, after Corona, there has been a change, right, a big change. You see, I have personally seen the sudden shift in hype and interest towards psychology, right, towards biology, which wasn't as much earlier, right, because we realized that that's not, you can't only think about physical health. There is something which is mental health, which is very, very important. We need to analyze and understand it. So now I'm seeing parents say, okay, no, my child is interested in psychology, and they're accepting it. And they are pursuing it, right? So that's a very, very good change. But this change has to come with all subjects. That's what I feel, or I would say. Yeah.
I think it's a paradigm shift which needs to happen, and I think it will happen gradually.
It will happen.
It's not going to happen overnight. But I think if we have initiated the change, and with the NEP coming, I think our government is also aligned to bring about that change. So I think we are moving in the right direction. Correct. So thank you so much, Swati. Once again, huge gratitude from all of us at ZLearn for you to come here and share these insights with our parents and students and educators. Means a lot for us. Thank you to everybody who has attended the session today. Hoping to see all of you back on the 30th of November for our session with Dr. Rajiv Kumar Singh of Shiv Nadar University, who will be talking to us about multidisciplinary education, why and how. So this is all of us at ZLearn, and from Swati, we are signing off for today. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Swati. Thank you very much.